All right, so here we are at our form that we've created where we are having the user enter the age. We're going to click the submit button and it will display the result here in LBL result. Now, let's go ahead and double click the submit button. So that's going to take us into the code area. And I don't need these other panels, so I'm going to minimize them. Remember, this is a procedure that executes when the user clicks the submit button. All right, typically at this point, I've asked you to type in the following comments. Declarations. Get user input. Calculation. Output. These are comments. And those comments they guide you in terms of what you're supposed to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. All right, in the declarations area. Now, this is the section where you think to yourself, what are those things that are going to be given to me by the user, and what do I need to give back to the user? All right, well, if I go back over here to the design form, certainly the user is going to give me their age. So back over here, I'll say dim age as. Now, I'm going to say integer because unless you're my little boy who says that he's 13 and a half years old, adults don't do that. Only kids do that, right? So people are going to enter their age in the form of an integer or a whole number. So we'll say dim age as integer.
So how do you get to the submitting part?
So what I'll do is when you have this button over here, when you double click it, it takes you to this code area. And so now what we want to do, what we want to do is we want to think, what are those things that I'm going to give to the user? And it looks like over here I'm going to be sending something out to the user. So why don't I do this? I'll say dim output as string. I'm going to set this thing equal to nothing. Do I have to do this? No. I could leave it as is, which means that the output isn't necessarily assigned to anything. I'm just giving you a demonstration that if I wanted to, I could assign it to something. Same thing over here with the age. I could say that currently the person is 0 years old. So I could go ahead and give an assignment if I want to. At the same time, I'm also giving a declaration. It's up to you. All right, in terms of get user input. Well, here's the problem. This is a text box. A user is going to be typing a number into that text box. But I can't do a mathematical evaluation on text. I have to do a mathematical evaluation on numbers. So let's get the text in this txt age text box and put it into this variable age. So age, we will convert to int 32, whatever is inside of this text box dot text. All right, so what happens here is we are converting this into a whole number. Now, when you typed in toInt, you probably saw toInt 16, toInt 32, toInt 64. So that means how many bits is that integer going to be worth? And for our purposes, we want our program to be compatible all the way back to, say, Windows XP, which is a 32-bit operating system. So for integers, just simply type in toInt 32. One day, no computer will have to operate on, or no program rather will have to operate on a 32-bit computer. So then we'll take toInt 64. But for right now, we want our programs to be backward compatible to Windows XP. Let's just type in toInt 32, 32-bit integer. Okay. All right, so I have the age. Now what I'm going to do is in the calculation section, I'm going to ask a question. Now, you start asking questions with the word if. If the age is greater than or equal to 18. If that is true, then, now watch what happens when I press enter. So I press enter on the keyboard and notice that end if automatically appears. So this is a question that we have. If it's true that the age is greater than or equal to 18, then we need to do something. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to say you are an adult. So over here, output, you are an adult. But what if that's not true? What if the user enters a number less than 17? Well, we have this else statement. Now what happens is the else statement executes when the above condition is false. The if statement executes when the above condition is true. So this gets executed when this is true, and this part over here is going to execute when it's false. You are a youth. So you're either an adult or you're a youth. And that's going to be based on what the age is. Now, is it possible for both of these to execute? No. It's kind of like today we're having a rainy day. Can't have a wet, dry morning. Some things are mutually exclusive, and that's exactly what this is. If this is true, you execute this. If this is false, you execute this. But you cannot execute both of them at the same time. Only one of them. Similar to your car stereo analysis that I gave you before. You have a car stereo with two buttons. Either this one is going to be playing or the other one's going to be playing, but you can't have both of them playing simultaneously. All right, so now that we know what the age is and we've developed what the output is, or we've assigned the output based on what that age is, I can say LBL result.text is going to be assigned whatever the variable output is. So this is either going to be a statement. You are an adult or you are a youth. That's what's going to be displayed over here. So let me save my work, run the program. So here we go. Let's see what happens when I type in 13. Submit. You are a youth. How about 17? Yep, you are a youth. How about 18? You are an adult. And of course, any number greater than 18, 55, you are an adult. Stop the program. Okay. So that's how the if statement works. The if statement is asking a question. If the answer to that question is true, you do this part immediately under the if statement. If the answer to the question is false, then you do the else portion, which is what this part is over here. Now, notice this thing over here. This is what we call relational operators. So I'm going to type a comment here so I can express to you all of the relational operators that you can use. So over here I'll press enter and I'll say note. Here are the various relational operators. Okay, so we have equals to, and that's going to be this symbol. We have less than, and that's this symbol. Greater than, we have not equal to. That's this symbol right here. That means not equal to in Visual Basic. So is the user input, is age not equal to 18? That be, it's difficult for us to think of questions in the negative. We typically ask questions in the affirmative. Do you want to go out to lunch? That's typically what I would ask. I wouldn't say, do you not want to go out to lunch? That's kind of weird. It's the negative form of a question. So, but in logic, we could possibly ask this question. All right, another one. Less than or equal to. And that's this symbol. Less than or equal to. Let me align the rest of these. Another one is greater than or equal to. And that would look like this. Put some spaces here. All right, so here in an if statement, you could put any one of these, what we call relational operators. Is age equal to? Is age less than? Is age greater than? Is age not equal to? Is it less than or equal to? Is it greater than or equal to? This is how you would place the various relational operators within an if statement. it.